The boycott movement. Why Muslims are saying no to Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and KFC. Intro. Have you ever wondered why millions of Muslims around the world are boycotting giant brands like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, KFC, and even McDonald's? What do burgers, colas, and fried chicken have to do with the Palestinian cause? Can boycotting a soda or skipping a fast food meal really help stop a war or save a child in Gaza? To truly understand this movement, we need to go back not just to recent events in Gaza or the West Bank, but decades into history, where the seeds of economic protest were first sown by leaders like Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, and even by Jewish communities themselves during the horrors of World War II. Chapter 1. The origins of the boycott strategy. The word boycott itself comes from the name of an English landlord, Boycott, who was infamous in Ireland for mistreating local farmers and workers. In response, the community stopped working for him, refused to sell to him, or even speak to him. Eventually, he was forced to flee. His name became a symbol of peaceful, collective resistance. This form of protest spread around the world. One of its most powerful users was Mahatma Gandhi, who led India's independence movement by boycotting British goods, especially textiles, salt, and colonial courts. He showed how peaceful economic pressure could shake an empire. Chapter 2. Mandela, Palestine, and the struggle for freedom. Fast forward to Nelson Mandela, the man who led South Africa out of the grip of apartheid. After being imprisoned for 27 years, Mandela became president and a global symbol of resistance and reconciliation. But what most people don't know is that Mandela had stood firmly with Palestine. In one of his famous interviews, Mandela said, "We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." Mandela saw in the Palestinian cause a reflection of his own people's struggle, a fight for dignity, justice, and land. When America tried to paint its enemies as the enemies of the world, Mandela said, "Just because someone is your enemy doesn't mean they are ours." Chapter 3. The 2001 conference that never ended. In 2001, South Africa hosted the World Conference Against Racism, attended by representatives from nearly every country. One of the key issues raised was the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, but only two countries opposed the conference: Israel and the United States. Just days after the conference began, the 9/11 attacks occurred, and global attention shifted entirely. The conversation about Palestine was silenced but not forgotten. Chapter 4. The birth of the modern BDS movement, inspired by the legacy of Mandela and Gandhi. Omar Barghouti, a Palestinian activist, launched the BDS movement in 2005. Boycott, divestment, and sanctions. Its goal was simple: apply economic and cultural pressure on Israel to end the occupation, respect Palestinian rights, and follow international law. The movement gained traction slowly. It targeted Israeli products, institutions, and companies directly involved in the occupation. But as violence escalated and Israeli policies became more aggressive, attention turned toward multinational corporations that were either complicit or openly supportive. Chapter 5. When burgers became political. In 2021 and again in 2023, war broke out in Gaza. Thousands of innocent Palestinians were killed, entire families wiped out. But what shocked people most wasn't just the brutality, it was the support major Western corporations gave to Israel during this time. McDonald's Israel announced it would provide free meals to Israeli soldiers. Other brands such as Starbucks, Burger King, and Domino's publicly or financially supported the Israeli military or political apparatus. In response, activists on platforms like Instagram and Twitter launched global boycott calls. And this time it wasn't just Palestinians, it was Muslims, Christians, Jews, and atheists, people from every continent. Chapter 6. Why Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and KFC, but why these brands in particular? Because these American companies have massive investments in Israel. Billions of dollars from these corporations fuel the Israeli economy. That money supports everything from settlements to military operations. Without it, Israel's government and war machinery would be significantly weakened. And here's the twist: while these brands heavily invest in Israel, they make a large portion of their profits in Muslim-majority countries. In fact, across the 57 Muslim nations, they generate billions annually. So the logic is clear: if these companies are funding our oppressor, why should we fund them? Chapter 7. But what about the jobs? One common argument against the boycott is, these companies provide jobs to millions of people in our countries. Won't boycotting them hurt our own people? It's a fair point. But history gives us a powerful counter-example: China during the Japanese invasion in the 1930s. At the time, China was poor and dependent on imports. But after Japan's occupation and atrocities, Chinese people committed to self. They stopped buying Japanese goods and began producing everything locally. And thus began the journey of what we today call Made in China. The same thing is happening today. In Pakistan, people are turning to cola next instead of Coke. In Malaysia, Starbucks is being replaced by Zeus Coffee, which has opened 360 branches in just 2 years. In Egypt, KFC is losing ground to Bazooka Fried Chicken. In Turkey, KFC closed 500 branches. with locals preferring the homegrown CTR chicken. In Indonesia, CFC has become the national alternative to KFC. So yes, while some jobs may be lost in foreign chains, thousands of new opportunities are being created in local businesses, which ultimately strengthens the economy. Chapter 8. Is the boycott actually working? Critics say, this boycott isn't working. Israel is still killing. The war hasn't stopped. But facts suggest otherwise. Since the 2023 war began, Intel, the global tech giant, cancelled a $25 billion investment in Israel, the largest in its history. Over 46,000 businesses in Israel have shut down due to pressure and instability. Israel's estimated economic loss so far, over $300 billion. So yes, while the bombs may not have stopped, the economic pressure is real, and Israel is feeling the heat. Chapter 9. Why not boycott Apple, YouTube, or Microsoft? Another common argument is, if you're boycotting American companies, why not boycott iPhones, Facebook, Microsoft, or even YouTube, where you're watching this video? This shows a misunderstanding of how effective boycotts work. Even Gandhi, during his boycott of British rule, didn't boycott everything British. He chose specific targets: salt, quartz, textiles. Similarly, Einstein didn't boycott all German science. He used it to help fight against the Nazis. The goal isn't to blindly reject everything foreign, it to target what hurts the oppressor most and empowers us most. In fact, platforms like YouTube are now being used by activists to spread awareness and organize resistance. That's strategic use, not blind rejection. Chapter 10. What if we win? Let's imagine for a moment, what if this boycott works? What if billions of Muslims stand united and force these brands to withdraw support from Israel? What if global corporations are told clearly, you can't support occupation and expect profit from oppressed people? And what if we use this boycott as a stepping stone to create a self-sufficient, empowered Muslim world where local businesses thrive, youth are employed, and nations stand strong without begging the West? It's already happening. Closing thoughts. The boycott of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, KFC, and McDonald's is not just about skipping a soda or switching coffee brands. It's about making a moral choice, drawing a line in the sand, and telling the world our money will not fund bombs, our silence will not protect murderers, and our choices can shape the future. Boycott movements are not about perfection. They're about pressure. They are not the final solution, but they are a powerful start. If someone puts a gun to your head and you only have a stone, would you not throw it out? If this story inspired you, share it. If you believe in justice, stand with it. And if you want change, be the change. Subscribe for more truth-telling content. This isn't just a boycott. This is resistance.